You would be hard-pressed to find a more on-fire career than the one Arnold Schwarzenegger had during the 80s and 90s. The one-time largest movie star in the world was in hit after hit with no sign of stopping in sight, with hits like Commando, Raw Deal, The Running Man, Predator, and Red Heat. The actor stepped into the 90s with perhaps his largest film of all time, Terminator 2 in 1991. This was a year removed from the underrated Kindergarten Cop and Total Recall. That success, unfortunately, would come to a halt with Arnold's arguably greatest failure, and certainly his first, today's lost and found topic, The Last Action Hero. The Last Action Hero was released in the summer of 1993, directed by the well-known action director John McTiernan. The film follows Danny Madigan, a boy that finds comfort in a local movie theater after the death of his father. Danny grows a great attachment to the Jack Slater action movie franchise, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger himself. One night, Nick, the local theater director projectionist, gives Danny a golden ticket. The golden ticket was once owned by Harry Houdini and is said to have power that Nick could never quite grasp. During an early preview of Jack Slater, Danny uses the ticket as a celebration and is soon magically transported into the fictional world with his favorite action hero. The Last Action Hero would feature the most prominent role for Arnold behind the camera, with the actor taking on an executive producing role. This meant he had a great control of the script as well as who directed it. McTiernan was top of Arnold's list, with his decorated action movie background including 1988's Die Hard and his collaboration with Arnold in 1987's Predator. The original screenplay for The Last Action Hero was written by Zach Penn and Adam Leff. Penn had become a pretty prominent name in Hollywood, with writing credits including X2, Ready Player One, Free Guy, and The Incredible Hulk. The inspiration for the script was always about doing a meta-action comedy on Hollywood blockbusters, with an approach similar to well-known Hollywood writer Shane Black. Ironically, Shane Black would come in to greatly rewrite the script and overhaul it. Several script doctors worked on the film to harness the parody elements and even added the Harry Houdini golden ticket idea. Columbia Pictures offered up a massive $85 million budget for the film, including fronting Arnold Schwarzenegger's massive $15 million paycheck. Despite the well-known names behind the scenes, as well as virtually unstoppable real-life Terminator Arnold on the big screen, the film would go on to be a massive letdown at the box office. In its total run, the film brought in less than $140 million and was poorly received by critics all around, with Variety stating it was a joyless, soulless machine of a movie. McTiernan went on record to say that the original concept of the movie was to have a wonderful Cinderella story with a young boy, but was quickly buried under bullshit. Arnold went on record to state the film's poor performance was on bad press, as well as the election of a Democratic president, which he said greatly influences the public's perception of action stars as nothing more than lowbrow.
Okay.
Years after the film's release, Nancy Griffin wrote a scathing chapter on the film titled How They Built a Bomb from her book Hit and Run, which detailed misadventures in Hollywood during the mid-90s. In it, she revealed a list of the film's problems, either created or at the time, mishaps. This includes Universal moving up the release date to a small box office success, one you might have heard of, Jurassic Park, a week before The Last Action Hero.
No.
The film was subjected to a large screening of a rough cut that was seen with horrible reviews and poor word of mouth. Due to the size of the film, shooting and editing schedules were horrendous and demanding, leading to the film being edited almost to the day of release. The Last Action Hero would also be the first to use Sony Dynamic Digital Sound, another expensive investment that few theaters were set up for, and the ones that did had nothing but issues with their systems. When it was all said and done, the film lost $26 million and was declared by Arnold Schwarzenegger as his first failure in his career. While the previous minutes of the video lead you to believe that The Last Action Hero is a complete, unfocused, joyless mess, the actual product is anything but. In fact, The Last Action Hero is 100% unappreciated and, dare I say, at its release point in 1993, misunderstood.
Bring the car around.
Can't. The helicopter landed on it.
I hate when that happens.
The film's deep-rooted meta makes for compelling commentary not only on Arnold himself, but the film industry as a whole.
To be or not to be? Not to be.
At the center of it is Danny, who is entirely the film's heart and driving point. McTiernan 100% captured the imagination and wonderment that a theater can give a young man, and hell, an old one too. Films are escapes, and Danny was looking for it, and found it with larger-than-life police detective Jack Slater.
Don't give up your day job.
Danny's world of New York is grimy, gross, and dark. It's so easy to see why he would buckle down and want to escape into this bright, glowing world of Jack Slater. The moment he does, the film brightens and is led by the larger-than-life, charismatic performance of Schwarzenegger. If anybody's taking the piss in a movie, it's clearly Arnold, who is chewing scenes of dialogue, spitting out one-liner after one-liner, and is center point for great action set pieces.
It's a no-fly zone, fella.
This fun comes to a halt with the film's villain, henchman turned primary villain, Benedict, played by Charles Dance. Benedict is an assassin in the Jack Slater world who learns of Danny's ticket and uses it to get to the real world. This creates an issue where Slater and Danny must follow him back to the real world and stop him. As the film states, in the real world, the bad guys can win.
In this world, the bad guys can win!
Dance makes for one hell of a compelling villain, highlighted by an absolutely evil, belly-aching laughter of a scene where he kills a man and then screams for someone to arrest him to test to see if he would be arrested.
I said I have murdered a man and I want to confess! Hey, shut up down there!
This change, about 2/3 through the movie, breathes some life into the movie, as well as the character that is Jack Slater. The Last Action Hero rings to me one of the most appropriate phrases for this film. One man's trash is another's treasure. While The Last Action Hero isn't the highly acclaimed, deep-rooting Hollywood study that it was intended to be, it's still a movie that has no issues pointing fun at itself, its predecessors, and those that would soon succeed it. Danny's hope of escaping his dark and depressing life by falling in love with cinema is something any true film fan can understand and relate to. That feeling is doubled with the meeting of his hero, Jack Slater. At its core, The Last Action Hero is a bit bloated, with a runtime probably 10 minutes too long. It logically doesn't make much sense, as the real world is clearly bound by rules, but can't have a Houdini-like escape to cinema. But in the end, the film's heart pushes through for an entertaining meta-commentary on Hollywood, and a relatable journey into film with a boy desperate for escape. It isn't perfect, but it's better than most give it credit for.